I don't know what Kelly's complaining about when she runs the water truck all the time. It's kind of nice. Normally I'm the one in the tractor or the combine and not in charge of support operations. But I tell you what, I could get used to this. Maybe I need to demote myself more often. Well, you ready to put the sprayer through its paces today and tomorrow?
Ready to see how many acres we can burn through.
Yeah, you're gonna get your chance anyway. Got 145 acres of beans or so and almost 400 acres of corn fertilized. With a lot of gallons run through here.
I'm just glad we don't have to break down to 60 foot on putting nitrogen on.
Yep, hopefully I can keep it hauled to you. You got the orifices.
Got the orifices, got my zip ties, got to pull my drop hoses out of the shed, and everything else should be ready to go.
You think we can just lay them up there on the platform and be out of the way?
Oh yeah.
I'll grab them here out of the shed if you want to get up there on the platform. I'll hand them to you.
I'm gonna have to finish spraying this out too.
Oh, you still got some ammonia in there?
Yeah, it's like, it says 100 gallons, but it ain't 100 gallons. It may be 65.
All right, that's fine. I'll yeah, while you spraying it out, I'll get your first batch mixed up.
Okay.
Before I mix up load, I'm gonna go up here on the computer see if I can wirelessly. Well, I should be able to wirelessly send you the nitrogen prescriptions for the corn. So before you leave, need to make sure that we've gotten it into the monitor there.
Okay. All right. It says it's got it uploaded.
All right. Have you opened up the map to make sure it's actually on there?
Yeah, it's showing on the. I downloaded your mom's house, and I'm looking at the full-size map of it. It's showing color on the screen.
All right. Well, good deal. We ought to be good to go then.
Okay.
All right. What we got going on today? We got a lot of spraying to do. First thing first, we got to spray all our soybeans with herbicide to kill the cover crop. We're spraying Roundup and prefix on it. And then our corn is at the right stage. We need to put the rest of our nitrogen fertilizer out on it. We're going to be spraying 32% UAN on all of our corn acres, or at least the first planted corn acres. The second planted corn acres not big enough yet to put it out. Go ahead and get the first load mixed up and get after it. Putting in 16.5 gallons each of Roundup and prefix. Sure y'all know what the Roundup does, but this prefix is a residual herbicide. It's a mixture of dual and reflex. Dual is real good on grasses and has some effect on broadleaves like pigweeds, and then the reflex is mainly a broadleaf herbicide. Kills small broadleaves and keeps others from actually germinating. It's really good on pigweeds. So hopefully with this application, this will keep our soybeans weed free for the rest of the year, or at least until they canopy, and then the canopy will keep the weeds from coming up in the soybeans. All right, well, Zach is on his way to the first field. He's got enough to finish that field and then get moved over to Clanton. So I'm gonna load up my supplies. I'll be running the tender truck today. I'll get on the road. Also wanted to take this time to let y'all know today is Kelly's birthday. So, of course, this isn't going to air till well past her birthday, but y'all be sure to wish her a happy birthday. Not going to tell how old she is today because otherwise this would probably be the last birthday I'll be celebrating with her. But anyway, I will say that she was born before the year 2000. So anyway, I'll be doing what would normally be her job today. Give her a little time to relax and hopefully enjoy the days. It's definitely a well-deserved day off for her. I'm gonna get all my stuff loaded up and we will hit the road.
Well, everybody, we're back at it again. Took the weekend to kind of self-recuperate over planting and replanting, kind of letting our heads get back in the right place after getting so frustrated with stuff coming up so spotty. We're going to get back after it this week pretty hard. We're out here putting a post-emerge on our full season soybean crop. Got about 135, 140 acres to go over. I'm about halfway done with everything right now. So we got another load and a half to get through everything.
Alright, we are finally on our way to the field. Zach had a minor issue with sprayer, had an O-ring blow on the nozzle body right as he got started. I had to get that fixed. Got all my supplies loaded up for the day. Ready for a long, hot day of spraying. I know summer typically doesn't get here until June 21st, but I do believe it has come early. We went straight from a prolonged winter into an early summer. I don't know what's happened to the calendar in the last several years. It seems like we only have 2 seasons now. We got winter and we got summer. We hadn't seen very much of a spring or a fall in quite a few years. Don't know if it's like that everywhere, but I miss my falls and I miss my springs. Anyway, Zach's got enough to get done over there at Dunlap, and I'm gonna meet him over here at Clanton. Anyway, while we're on our way to the field, I wanted to bring something up that kind of bugged me a little bit. Over the weekend, one of my Facebook friends sent me an instant message with an attached TikTok and asking me if it was in fact true. There's a TikTok from a guy, I don't remember who it was or whatever, but he said his dad is in the ag industry. It said the new administration is telling farmers to destroy their crops. And if they don't destroy their crops, they're not going to be able to get any of their subsidies for the year. And I love a good conspiracy theory just like anybody else, but you know what? I don't buy into the majority of them, and I want to say that this is, in fact, 100% false. So if you see something like that going around the internet, by all means, tell them they're full of them. You know what? Now, even though I try to keep politics out of my YouTube channel, for the simple fact that I believe what I believe, you believe what you believe, I'm not going to try and convince you otherwise. I still made it no secret that I'm not a big fan of this administration, definitely not a big fan of their policies. But this conspiracy theory that's going around is just, I ain't got any words for how stupid it is. I know if you're a strong Republican, you know, the tendency is probably to believe anything that comes out that says how awful the other side is. But this is in fact not true at all. Now, I'm only speaking for row crops. I can't speak for vegetable farmers or anything like that. I don't travel in those circles. I don't know very much about their policies. But I would imagine if something like this was going around, I'm pretty sure I would have heard about it. But it's definitely, in fact, not true for row crops. We are not being paid to destroy our crops. In fact, that goes against everything that we stand for. And just in order to qualify for subsidies, no. Now, I do plan on doing a video sometime in the near future on agricultural subsidies. I know it's a pretty touchy subject among farmers and the general public, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because I think it needs to be said. You know, there's so much misinformation I've seen out there about agricultural subsidies, and I want to set the record straight on that. But just to give you a heads up, you know, the one reason that this conspiracy theory would be false is that agricultural subsidies are not actually tied directly to farm production. It's illegal due to the World Trade Organization's policies. So saying that American farmers won't get their subsidies unless they destroy the crops is absolutely ridiculous. That corn's starting to come on, look pretty good. All it needed was a few days of some warm, dry weather. Man, that wheat's looking good too. It's pretty much done filling grain. Head's starting to turn just a little bit, starting to dry down. Won't be long before the combine's ready to roll. Let me get this truck parked up here and I'll give you a little bit better look at it here. All right, we made it out here, found us a nice shady spot. So I'm gonna get first thing I'm gonna get another load for Zach mixed up real quick, and I'll give you a little tour of what the crops look like out here. All right, here we are at the big bottom on Clanton. We got this field, and then we got a long, narrow bottom on the other side of the creek there. Here's the soybeans. As you can see from this particular area, they just don't look too good. In fact, I spent all day Friday replanting some soybeans. I didn't record it because I was in a pretty salty mood, and I really didn't feel much like talking to the camera. I thought once we got our corn replanted that I was done replanting. Then I was out here scouting beans to see if it was ready for a herbicide application, and come across some areas in all of my fields that I just wasn't very happy with. I mean, you can see right there, it's a little thin. Anyway, what we did is we had to replant about half of our soybean acres. On this farm, mainly it's all the lower, about the back third of this field, because the water drains that way and it stays a lot wetter that way. So I don't know if you can see it, but what we did is we used RTK and we moved our guidance lines over 10 inches and we planted in the middles. That way we didn't destroy the earlier planted soybeans that were actually up, because they have a whole lot higher yield potential than what our later soybeans will. But with the stand we had, we didn't have very good yield potential. So hopefully, you know, we planted a variable rated anywhere from 90 to 110,000 plants per acre in the middle. So that should fill in the gap to where we still got quite a few early planted soybeans that with high yield potential, and then we got some later planted soybeans that will kind of fill in the gaps and provide additional yields. So we don't have the yield potential on our soybeans that we did at the time that we first planted early, but now there shouldn't be any problem with this replanting the soybeans coming up. And you know, we should still have real good yield potential since we're already able to keep what had already come up out there. We're just trying to fill in the gaps, especially keep weeds from coming up. And then you get in the parts of the field right here that got real good stand, a little bit drier, didn't have any problems coming up. See on the soybean plant, see we got the first trifoliate out, the second trifoliate's coming up. So according to the label on the prefix, there's now time to spray the soybeans with a herbicide. You can tell it's still pretty dang clean. We got some of the cover crop starting to pop back out, but we don't have any summer weeds coming out yet because we put out a stiff shot of pre-merge with Valor and Metribuzin out there, but it's getting to the point that it's about probably going to play out, so we're going to get another residual down on there to overlap it, and should keep the beans clean until they canopy, and then the beans will provide their own weed control after that by not allowing sunlight to reach the soil. Ooh, I smell me a patch of honeysuckle. Maybe I'll get a quick snack. Better enjoy them where they last, won't be around much longer. All right, looking at the wheat up here on top of the hill, I mean, really good. Got some nice big fat heads. All the seeds have filled out nicely. Not much just juice left in them, mainly starch. So this wheat crop is done, or if it's not done, it'll be done in the next couple of days and start to dry down. And looking over it all, I'm really pleased. Got a little bit of insect feeding out here. You can see some spikelets missing from this side, probably army worm, but I mean, you're gonna have a little bit of feeding out here, but very little that we see. And then we're seeing just very few heads like this right here. Until the tip end there looks like it's dead. That is what we sprayed fungicide for. This right here is head scab. As you can see, it's got kind of a small shriveled up seed. And that's what we sprayed the fungicide for, was to keep that disease out. Now, if we hadn't sprayed it, I mean, you're not going to keep 100% of disease out of your crop. It's just not going to happen. But if we hadn't sprayed our crop with the fungicide, there'd be a whole lot more of it scattered across the field, and then we would have to worry about high toxin levels in the wheat crop. But I mean, just, you're going to see an occasional head here or there that part of it, like here's another one that got hit. And that's probably a late emerging head that emerged after we had sprayed the fungicide, so it wasn't protected. But man, I'm really excited about this wheat crop. I cannot wait to get the combine out and put it in here. It's been too long since I've had a really good wheat crop. It's been about 3 years. I'm really looking forward to this one. All right, we just topped Zach off with the last little bit he needs to finish up the soybeans. We're run back to the shop and we're gonna get loaded up with some liquid nitrogen, some 32% UAN. We already got our nitrification inhibitor loaded up on the truck, so all we need is nitrogen. We can start putting the go juice to the corn. Zach's only got about 16 acres left to spray up there on the Nance farm, and it's gonna take me a while to get filled up with 3,000 gallons. He's already got the drop hoses and the orifices that we need to run the nitrogen in the middle of the corn. So while I'm filling up, he's going to be putting those on the sprayer.